Hello everybody. Wanted to come on and make a special video to one album. An album that a few months ago when I heard it was coming out, I was really excited about. I'm sure many of my fellow vinyl community members already have it or are planning to get it. And the album, of course, I'm talking about is Pink Floyd's The Endless River. I hesitate to call this a review video because, well, I don't really like giving reviews. but let's just call this a sharing video or like a thoughtful video. This is just my thoughts on this album because I really enjoyed some aspects of it and other aspects of it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And before we get into that, let's talk about the packaging itself. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. You know, very, very surreal, of course, being Pink Floyd. This is white, which kind of cuts the two images apart, which in one level kind of annoys me, but in the other level, when I'm just looking at it for the spine, I really like. So, you know, the cover is this wonderful, they coated it in something, it feels so velvety, almost like it's like a layer of wax on the cover. Very nice feeling. Also came with a lovely booklet with old pictures from when they were recording, and song titles and tidbits and so on and so forth. All of the pictures themselves, the graphics, are what's the word I'm looking for? Naval or aquatic in nature, because it was, of course, recorded on David Gilmour's boathouse. So everything's pictures of like boats and compasses and stuff, which is very cool. There is a note. It says for Storm Thornson or whatever the hell his name is. Who was the man who did for many years did the graphic art, the artwork and the cover design and stuff for Pink Floyd, and he passed away last year, so there's a little rip note in there for him. But very cool printed sleeves as well. Not going to pull the vinyl out, just standard black vinyl. Now musically, let's get into the album. I think it is wonderful. The album as a whole, if you listen to the whole thing from front to end, I really enjoy. Everything is kind of cohesive in a way, and it flows together very nicely. But then at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, why isn't that one track? Or why isn't this bit one track? Like, for example, the opening track, Things Left Unsaid, and then the one that immediately follows it, It's What We Do, could be one song. And the album itself, I keep thinking that it could just be one song, because the two first songs are a perfect example. The first song is all organ and synthesizer work, very beautiful, mellow, surreal opening, not surreal, ethereal opening to the album. And then that goes into It's What We Do, which again just carries that same synthesizer work over, and then has some beautiful guitar work by Gilmour. I mean, absolutely beautiful guitar, probably some of the best guitar work on the album. And I keep thinking to myself, well, that could just be one song. Why is it broken up like that? It's a bit weird. And then that goes into Ebb and Flow, which is a little like 1.5 minute track that's just gorgeous. And that's where one of the biggest problems in this album comes for me. And I said I wasn't gonna pull a vinyl out, but now I have to. The first disc is a perfect example. Can you see that? I don't know how it's coming out, but can you see the fact that there's so much unused space? I'm like, what the fuck? It's just, when I first got the album, I immediately just grabbed the download card and put it on the computer because I couldn't spin it at the time. And you know, downloaded it, put it on iTunes, and when I'm looking at the songs, because there's 18 songs, it's 2 discs, and you're all excited, all this material, but the majority of the tracks are like these little 1.5, 2 minute, 2.5 minute tracks that if you listen to them separately, they're just tidbits. They're not an entire song. They're not a whole track. It's not a complete thought. And a lot of that feels to me like just leftover bits from when they did the Division Bell. Because seriously, all that space, and the B-side's exactly the same. They could have fit A and B on the one side and had that flow much better. Because like I said, the album, when you listen to it, flows. But, I mean, 10 minutes into it, it suddenly stops and you have to flip the disc. And it's distracting. And that's where the album really starts to lose me. I mean, that much empty space on... They could have fit all of this material on the one disc. There is no need it has to be 2 discs. I mean, I know that's just technical or aesthetic quality, but there's no need for it to be 2 discs. And if they really wanted to be 2 discs, then why isn't it 45 speed master? Or hell, if they wanted, they could have made it 3 sides and had like an etching on the back D side with you know, of Wright, which, I mean, Richard Wright, which, how cool would that be? Dedicated to Richard Wright. It's an etching on the back. Why am I playing a record for 10 minutes and then flipping it over when you're breaking a flow of a song that should all be one track? This entire album, The Endless River, should be called The Endless River, and it should be 1 track. Again, I'm like grasping at straws here, and it's part of my, I don't know if you want to call vinyl OCD, but I mean, that much empty space. And trust me, the second disc is not as bad, but I mean, a fairly good amount of space left on both sides. I have several records that, I mean, it's a huge amount of material on one side. I have a record that the opening track is 27 minutes and 50 seconds, and there's still room. Like, it blew me away when I first saw it, because I'm like, how are they going to fit that on there? But then they fit it, and there's so much extra space, and you're like, well, why didn't they spread it out a bit more then? I mean, it's almost 28 minutes. So there's no excuse for this album, for one, not to be on 1 disc, and for 2, not to be 1 track. The fact that it's not 1 track and everything gets broken up is, for me, a vinyl lover and listener, it's distracting. It's unfortunately distracting because it deters me. It deters me a lot. Not going to say anymore. Not going to say anymore about that. But this should all be like 1 47, 50 minute long track. Because the way it is broken up, it just annoys me. And there's certain tracks that I think don't have to be on there. Like I think it's Alonzi 1 and Alonzi 2, which kind of has like this guitar effect that they're doing, like Run Like Hell, that guitar effect. Almost like they were testing it or just kind of jamming with it, where I could have done without that, you know? Or another bit of Talkin' Hawkin', where they have the Stephen Hawking voice, you know, the computer voice talking, which is like, you know, okay, whatever. There's certain aspects of this that I think with some creative editing, the album could have been better. But the opening tracks, Things Left Unsaid, and It's What We Do, for me, are my personal favorite. And Louder Than Words, which is the only, you know, the only track that has vocals on it, is just beautiful. What a beautiful song. Starts out with some synthesizer work, of course, leading into the guitar and bass, and the drums kick in, and it's one of the few songs on the album that feels like a complete song. It's a whole thought. And whether or not that was because it was just a leftover track and they put vocals to it, or they reworked that track and made it so that there could be vocals and added guitar and so on and so forth. I think the album could have been a lot better if the songs were worked better. That being said, if you just drop the needle and don't think about it and just listen, this is a beautiful, beautiful, ethereal album that I'm probably not being justified and fair enough in my assessment of it, because just so much empty track on one side. It's on two sides, on four sides. I mean, you know, I bought this from Amazon. It was $40, and when I saw that empty space, I was like pissed. I'm like, why am I paying all that money for this? Then I ended up getting $7 back from Amazon, so it was like $33, which made me feel a little better about it. But it's a good album. Don't let me deter you. I know you guys can listen to it on YouTube if you really want before you get it. I'm sure what I say isn't going to stop anybody from getting it or make them return it or anything. Or even change their mind to get it if you weren't going to get it in the first place. But I enjoy it. Cool to go on my Pink Floyd collection. And ironically, this is the only album I've actually paid money for. In my Pink Floyd collection. I was posting them on Facebook the other day, and it's like, I've never paid more than $1 for a Pink Floyd record until this one. So hope you guys like what I had to say. Hope it was informative. Hope I don't give you the wrong impression because I bashed the album too much. But, you know, until next time.